I'm Amaris Proctor from World of Cruising, and I recently joined an adventure into Norway with Great Rail Journeys. We took an incredible train journey from Oslo to Bergen and then joined a cruise with Havila Voyages. This was my experience. Of course, I have to start with the iconic train ride from Oslo to Bergen, which was truly such a highlight to see that ever-changing scenery really expand from, these snow-covered suburbs to these jaw-dropping mountains was such a treat. Seeing all the Norwegian spruce and the birch trees that were so silvery and the gorgeous fords reflecting the mountains. Wow, what a sight and what a vision. Bergen was an amazing experience as well. I would say the Scandinavian culture of museums is so impressive. I feel like the caliber of what they have to offer in terms of curation, is just top notch. So being able to explore it, get a greater sense of their mythology, their kind of cultural history, their artistry was so exciting, as well as to see the unique architecture which has emerged from quite rough and ready conditions in Norway. Getting on the ship was so exciting as well. The Norwegian sea was kind to us. We didn't have too many nasty waves, but what we did have was some stunning views. You can see behind me, I'm at a lookout point overlooking the town of Ålesund, which is one of the highlights of a cruise with Havila northwards. Seeing the gorgeous landscape contrasted with the Art Nouveau architecture of the town, which it's really well known for, is such a treat. And we're also really looking forward to when it gets darker, because this is when we start to really look for the northern lights, which hopefully will be dancing in the sky above us soon. I've just come in from my latest attempt chasing the Northern Lights. It is obviously one of the major attractions of a Havila cruise along the Norwegian coast in winter, because you are going straight towards the Aurora Oval. In fact, that's where we're heading by tomorrow, and we should be reaching there early in the morning. But for now, we're keeping our eyes peeled. We're seeing some faint pulses of green that appear really vibrantly against this sea of stars in the sky. So it's definitely something that's been a bucket list worthy experience. Crossing the Arctic Circle, of course, was such an iconic moment. Just seeing the glimmering light of the famous globe across as we crossed was so exciting. That was Viking Island that we were crossing to mark that we had moved on. The fun ceremony that we had on ship, where we met the King of the Sea with a great bushy beard, was a lot of fun as well. We had ice cubes, ice cold water and ice cubes poured down our back, which sounds very frightening, but was actually such a highlight and such a cool sensory experience to remember the momentous occasion. excited because I can see just outside my window that we are pulling up to the city of Tromsø. We're going to disembark from our Havila ship and go on an excursion organized by Grey Rail Journeys. We're going to be meeting huskies, and they're going to be taking us on a sleigh ride through the snow. If that sounds like all your childhood dreams come true, I'm absolutely on the same boat, or shall I should say ship, and I'm very excited to meet them firsthand and let you guys know what it's genuinely like. This video probably does a very poor job of accurately showing just how beautiful the scenery of northern Norway is, but Havila does its best to give guests a front row seat to this stunning nature. In my personal view, my absolute highlight was the husky ride. Just that sled ride underneath the northern lights. Wow, what a gorgeous scene to experience. In Oslo, where we're just doing some final bits of exploring, visiting the Munch Museum, the famous sculpture park, perhaps the Opera House and the famous library, before heading back to London tomorrow. Been a stunner from beginning to end. The sights we've seen, from the most vivid northern lights you can imagine, with the reds and the pinks and the greens and the purples all juxtaposed against this dark star-studded sky, just completely stunning. Like, we saw these arcs above us at points that looked like cathedrals, and that was incredible. But also just the silver fords that reflect this gorgeous mountain scenery and these glaciers. That's been such a highlight as well. It was also just so great to see, these really northernly destinations, because they revealed such a wealth of heritage, both human and natural. So being able to see all of that was so exciting.
But to actually experience it, and for the train to be stopping at some of these stations so you can get photographs, you can get a feel for people living in these small communities. I think that's really important.